Oh my god, he can walk fast while crouched. Dude, it's the funniest thing when you see people in pubs or ranked or like low ranked try to do like only crouch walk with Revenant, thinking it is strong. It always makes me laugh. Like walking around with a Spitfire thinking it's good. Okay, we're gonna do a season 13 legend tier list. Season 13 legend tier list right now. I feel like Lifeline, we don't have to argue much. She is just like, her abilities have become totally irrelevant with the addition of Newcastle. She was not good in the first place. You know, I guess her passive could be kind of a clutch moment sometimes. What also makes her good is her hitbox being pretty small. But I feel like Newcastle is just a better version of her, so she gets a D tier. Lifeline ultimate is just irrelevant. It's a useless ultimate. It's about as useful as Wraith being like alarming people that someone is nearby. Let's talk about Newcastle real quick. It's a character that takes a lot of like micro adjustments. Your abilities, like you actually have to use your abilities quite a lot to get the maximum out of his kit. Like you have to be spamming your utility button, like either Q or T, whatever you have it bound to, or if you're playing controller, to align the shield in the direction that you want to. But it's like a really annoying thing to control, to be fair. But it also is really like it allows you to really get some value out of it sometimes. Like I've been outplayed by Newcastle's already because they slowly move the shield back like, you know, front then backwards depending on when they want to shoot. I struggle to I don't know if I want to put him into S or A tier. I honestly, like, for what he has, the abilities that, you know, all of his things are useful. All of his, like, he doesn't have anything that doesn't like appear useful. I feel like it would be a shame to put him in just A. I don't feel like he deserves to be an A. I feel like he deserves to be an S, and that maybe we haven't explored him completely yet because he's only been out for well, not very long. I feel like he is an S tier, but maybe for competitive we'll see. I think people are gonna try to pair him with a Gibraltar in competitive, but yeah, I think he's an S tier. Like on his kit, he's S tier. Look where Maggie is now. Well, Maggie's just not good on Storm Point for like for real though. Did you see Team Empire run Maggie in during the playoffs, like the LAN? Maggie was really strong for their setup. They were full int people. Launched the ultimate either at, like, let's say if they're sitting in confined spaces, they would launch it at the doors. They would just go for it. It was actually so strong. I feel like Maggie is still pretty unexplored, but it takes good teamwork to play her correctly. But like as an intuitive legend that is easy to play and easy to set up plays, it's not easy. You rely on your team to set up that play with you. I feel like she's unexplored a little bit, but I would still put Maggie into probably B tier at the moment. Her kit is definitely better than well, Lifeline. Her kit is definitely better than Lifeline. You know, having speed boost, passive with shotguns. Her Q sometimes can be pretty huge, like especially in packed end games. So yeah, I'll put her there. Let's talk about Ashe. Ashe hasn't been changed in season 13. Right now we're on Storm Point though. I feel like Ashe is very strong on Storm Point because of all those sometimes empty stretches that you have to cross. World's Edge, she's also strong. People typically playing her there as well. Also in comp. It's kind of between playing Ashe or Wraith. I don't know if I'd put her in S or A tier. I feel like she's definitely an S tier legend. You know, her minimap utility, knowing where fights are taken, like going down, knowing how many knocks and first are being taken, plus her snare sometimes is just like, it's so easy to use. Like it takes a literal split second to throw out, and sometimes it can be huge value if you catch someone and you know they're gonna be in that spot. Let's talk about Octane. I feel like Octane, even though I was an Octane main for quite a while, even before he got OP, he has kind of had his glory days. Utility wise, Ashe is just a stronger Octane. His stim takes too much HP from him in general. It's like 24 damage. You can still have really good pop games, etc. with this. Like, absolute. Like, Octane is just like one of those characters where you can snowball. Like, if you're snowballing, popping stim knocking people, hitting the armor swap. Like you can just keep going. You can just keep going. So I definitely put Octane in B tier. Let's talk about Bangalore. Bangalore received a slight nerf with her smoke Seer in the new season. The one-way smoking thingy got partly adjusted, so she had a small nerf from like some of the bad mechanics that she had, or some of like the broken mechanics. But she's really strong. A lot of people are playing her, especially on Stormpoint, because of all those big open fields where you can either provide your team cover with smokes, you can smoke the enemy, or you can throw down your ultimate, use that as area denial. I would say with her added passive, I think especially on Stormpoint, that she is an A tier legend. I would probably say. I'm not gonna put an S tier. It's probably somewhere between A and B. To be fair, I would say mostly A. If you're playing with a good team, she is definitely A. Let's talk about Loba. Let's talk about Loba real quick. So Loba is, especially when you're playing competitive, pretty high tier legend if you're landing at a point of interest, or POI as people call it, that has a low loot density, but let's say low loot density but a quick rotation, because then you typically just loot the scraps that you can right now, boom, and then you rotate, go sit in the zone, you sit there tight, you don't move, and as soon as like there's an opportunity to grab some loot, you start grabbing it, you just use your ultimate all the time. Eventually you'll find that you are as stacked as the other teams. But I feel like, especially on Stormpoint right now, if we're just talking ranked, you do not need to play Loba, because the new version of Stormpoint that has the added IMC vaults, you have the replicators, you have a lot of PYs that has so much loot in the first place. You don't really need to pick Loba. Yeah, overall, I'll probably put it in a B right now. But in some situations, if she is in if you're playing competitive and it's the right kind of lobby with like barely any Loba, so you're playing a Cinder PY without any loot, then she can have to be more value than that. Let's talk about our boy Mirage. He has decoys and he has he has the ability to make them invisible for a second, and it also makes decoys. For what that is, I would still put him above Lifeline. I would rather play Mirage than I'd play Lifeline, because sometimes you're playing against the Mirages, they'll throw their ultimate in their face, and for that brief moment you're like, who is he? It also counters Bloodhound, Seer a little bit, which is two highly rated players. I think Mirage is as bad as Lifeline, so I'd definitely put him in Seer. Not in Seer, I'll put him in C. Oh god, now I just got an image. Let's talk about Rampart. Rampart is the character that has gotten buffed in this patch. So her cooldown on her ultimate, or like the charge up time, went to 125. Her shields now have 120 health when they get deployed, and like close to, I think it's a 360 or is it 400 health, which is pretty strong. And also the deploy timer got reduced to 3.6 seconds. I find pretty good value in Rampart right now. She's actually fun. C? No, she's not C. I would put her in B right now. I'll put her in B. She was previously C or D. Now I'll put her in B. Let's talk about Pathfinder. Pathfinder hasn't gotten any love in the recent patch. His passive is still gaining faster zip lines, which is a joke. He just hasn't gotten any love for a while. And I feel like especially playing Pathfinder or Stormpoint is tough. I'd probably put him in C, honestly. Yeah, I wouldn't. No, he's definitely better on the Lifeline, but I don't know. He hasn't gotten some love in a while. If you're a really good Pathfinder, you can play him pretty darn well. But when it's sweaty lobbies, really sweaty lobbies, there's not huge kit potential. Yeah, I know Mandy plays him all the time, but Mandy usually plays Pathfinder when he's playing pups. Let's talk about Seer. Seer is a strong wall hack pick. It was really strong last season, to be fair. It was really strong last season. Nothing has really changed, but the character meta being a little bit stronger, so a little bit different with Newcastle, Rampart being buffed. I'll probably put him in S, honestly. I'll put him in S because I want to place Bloodhound in A. We're just getting the wall hack characters out of the way. Talk about our good friend Crypto, iPad Man. I feel actually like with his last buff that made his kit more mobile. You know, you can send out your drone in a straight line or whatever, like towards the target, and then, you know, deploy the ultimate in at the same time. I feel like it was intended as a buff, but also they decreased the drone health, so it would literally just be destroyed by one wingman bullet. So I'd put him in B this season. Gibraltar. Without a doubt, Gibraltar still is S tier. His gun shield, his passive is still really useful. His bubble is still considered necessary, I would say, in competitive. S tier plus. Definitely see an S tier character, without a doubt. I still think he's strong in the Newcastle. By the way, we're not, like, when they're in these ratings, I'm not ordering them in any particular tier, by the way. Wraith. Watch out, you're in danger. I put her in B tier right now. I would still put her in B tier. I don't think from a high rank perspective. Yeah, she's really strong for late game situations. It's where her portal actually excels. When, let's say, the late game is zone 5, or, you know, zone 6, there are 10 squads left. That's where she excels. I feel like, and right now we're on Storm Point. Yeah, of course. Her Q is really strong still, guys, and people are still gonna play her for that reason. We could probably put in A or like B plus, but I'll just put her in B right now to piss people off. Let's talk about Wattson. I feel like she's still a pretty strong pick, but mostly for lobbies that are really dense, like where there's a lot of squads alive. Then I feel like she's a pretty strong pick. With no cryptos alive as well. No crypto picks. Yeah, she's really strong. I would still put her in B tier. Well, bye. We have a lot of B tier legends. I'll probably put her in B. I wouldn't put her in C. I don't think she is a C. She provides much more utility for the team than Pathfinder, Mirage, and Lifeline. B for balanced. Okay, first of all, Revenant. I feel like Revenant was nerfed a ton when you had the added sound effect and the visuals from his ultimate. I'll put him in C, and I'm putting him in C because he's still more useless than Lifeline. But he kind of excels when he's with a character at the full sense. So either Ashe or Octane, like, you need to play them in combination because you put it down and then you rush once and then you rush again. But with Ashe, keep in mind her portal only stays open for, was it 8 to 10 seconds or something like that? So if you hit her ult and you don't do some damage instantly, you're gonna have to cross all that way again. So almost like the only character you can pair him with is Octane, because the jump pad stays. And Octane just isn't played that much anymore. I'll probably play, I guess, kind of like, you have a character that relies on other characters, so I'll definitely put him in C tier. Oh my god, he can walk fast while crouched. Dude, it's the funniest thing when you see people in pubs or ranked, or like low ranked, try to do like only crouch walk with Revenant, thinking it is strong. It always makes me laugh. Like walking around with a Spitfire thinking it's good. So of course, let's talk about Valkyrie. Valkyrie, still strongest macro rotation in the game. Out of bound plays got nerfed a little bit. You know, making you can basically not do anything when you're out of bounds now. You can't heal, you can't shoot, can't use abilities. But she is by far still S tier. Her kit itself, being able to dash, you have Q, your rockets, which is basically a whole field of arc stars, and then your ultimate being your best like trump card to get out of a sticky situation, and of course a free rotation to avoid fighting XYZ teams, like a bunch of teams. So she's still arguably the strongest pick. Horizon, I'm gonna put her in A tier, and the reason why I'm putting her in A tier is because, okay, maybe except for Newcastle, I think she's kind of in the same space like Newcastle and Seer, like utility wise. She's not as, I think, maybe Ashe as well. Definitely not as like necessary as a Valkyrie Gibby. She is still really strong. She is still really strong. Her gravity lift, one of the strongest abilities in the game. I don't know how many times I've cursed a Horizon going up at her gravity lift, being like, why can't I hit her? Like, she's literally unhittable, you know, just dancing around the bullets, hopping off, hitting a bat, sliding into relative safety because of her passive actually being useful, which is, you know, extra air movement and the ability to like bounce off surfaces. So she is definitely, yeah, I mean, I would probably say A+. Fuse, I would so Fuse for me is a character kind of like Rampart. They're both legends that are kind of, let's just call it support legends. Let's just call them support, like offensive support legends. That has utility that will do damage. Same way as you play Rampart and you put down a lot of walls and it's taking a lot of time. It can kind of be hit or miss. Using Fuse to use your Nugget clusters. It also takes a lot of time to like get it down perfectly. Sometimes you're trying to put yourself up to like the perfect play where a team is in relative distance to get both Fuse salted, Nugget clustered, grenaded, etc. Like you need that. If you don't have utility on Fuse, if you're not stacked on nades, he's definitely like a weaker character. But the second that you're playing Fuse, you're carrying 4 Arc Stars, 2 Thermites, 2 grenades or whatever. And you wanna get in on a team. You can definitely destroy just about any team in the game just with utility alone. You don't even have to shoot your enemy. You can just throw grenades at them. Use your Fuse ult, use your Nugget clusters, and eventually they'll die, right? Caustic is a hard positional character. Or you could do as Team Empire is doing, pair him with Maggie, use the speed boost when going into a fight, and then just like yeet your ultimate at someone's face. It's causing his gassed here. There's not a whole lot of Cryptos playing at the moment. I don't know if I would put him in S or A right now. I don't think people are gonna get pissed off by the fact that we're not putting on S instead of A. What do you guys think about this tier list? Is it do you feel like it's accurate, or are there changes that you would personally like to see?